Hi everyone, welcome back to Caketastic Cakes. It's Jen. I'm going to show you today how to make a tree stump cake, and I have a little teddy bear sitting on top of it. So if you like this, please like and subscribe, and here we go. All right, we're going to make the bear first. This is just gum paste. You take your brown, roll it out into whatever size you want. This is going to be his body, so everything is going to be built around this. So whatever size you need, that's where you have to kind of really start from. Take your ball, roll it around, roll it into more of a pear shape so he has a big round tummy and, a little bit smaller of a top. And when to get a nice pear shape, take your lollipop stick and ram it through. Take another ball and roll it around till you get a nice shape and size out of it for the bear's head. Add a little bit of water. You might have to trim down your lollipop stick, which I'm going to do. Yep, right there. And then shove your bear head right on there. If it looks too big or too small, just take it off and trim it or reshape it however you need. It's not a big deal. Teddy bears are pretty darn forgiving because you really can't go wrong. They can be any shape or size or look, really. All right, now you're going to take, I don't know what this tool is called, a seam print maker thing. I don't know, it makes a seam print, and I go up and down the two sides, the outsides of the teddy bear, just to make him look stitched. If you don't have this, you don't need it, but, if you have it, use it. It makes it look a little better. This little cylinder I'm rolling out here with my fondant smoother is going to become his limbs. I'm going to start with the bottom legs first. I cut them kind of long just because you can always take away more than you can put back. And stick it on there, see how it looks. If it looks ridiculous, like that one did, just trim it off and shorten it up till you get a size you like. Hold the other end up to make sure you have the right thickness, because I did, press down on it a little bit to make it fatter. And just match it up, trim it down, and then, at an angle like that, just so you can kind of tuck that edge underneath the other bear, or excuse me, the bear's belly. Add a little bit of water and just stick it right in place. And then you've got bear legs. There you go. Nice little teddy bear legs. Just flatten up the bottoms if you want, like you saw me kind of do there, because some of the teddy bears have the flat feet on the bottom. You could also add little patches to the bottom of the feet if you want. I did not, but you can if you want. You can add all kinds of details, whatever you need. A ribbon around its neck or whatever. Doesn't matter. Here comes the stitch print thing tool again. Once again, just going on the outside of the legs. Rolling out a print just to make him look a little more like a proper teddy bear, like he's been sewn together. All right, this cream is going to go on the bear's belly. So it is brown that I just, lightened up with some white, rolled it out nice and thin. Use your circle cutter and just cut out a circle that looks like a good size for his little tummy patch. If you need to stretch it out to make it more oval, just gently pull on the two ends. And, because gum paste is so forgiving, you can tweak it, if it gets a little lopsided or something, just pull and press it gently, stretch it out. When you get a nice oval, you're going to paint a little bit of water on the back of it and then press it to his little belly. Make sure you try to get the edges down nice and neat. Make sure you try to lay it on there nice and evenly and straight, which is actually, can be a little more difficult. Like you could see right there, there's a little air bubble that I had trapped in there. Just smooth it all out. And then using the stitching tool again, I'm just going around the outside edge of his belly patch there to make it look like it was sewn on. And there you go. Now he's got a little stitched on belly. This is going to be his face, or his muzzle on his face. It's the same color cream that we used before for the belly patch we just made. So you're going to take a circle and then smush it out flat and cut it kind of thin and shape it. I wanted my nose or muzzle to be kind of big and oval. You can make it round, you can make it small, however you want. This is just how I did it, and when you cut it flat on the edge, it just sticks right on there. A little bit of water, boom, done. I'm using the back of my lollipop stick. It's kind of hard to see through my hand. Sorry about that, guys. Just to make two indentations where I'm going to put eyes for the teddy bear. Putting a little bit of water inside the eye sockets. And I'm using little candy pearls. They're just little black candy pearls. I wanted him to have kind of a shiny button eye look type of thing. So that's what I was doing there. I was just trying something different. If you get the little candy pearls and you do press them in while the gum paste is soft with a little bit of water, they will stick. They won't just fall out. So you can do that. Again, with the stitching tool, I'm just running it over his muzzle, or yeah, muzzle, just to make him look a little more sewn together. And this is a little black dot of proper gum paste. This isn't the button or the candy pearls like I used before. All right, now we're going to make the heart that he's holding. Again, like I said, customize them however you want. If you don't want him holding a heart, if you want him holding a heart, that's up to you. Put a hat on his head, put a ribbon around its neck, whatever. You know, this is just something I did for a woodsy themed baby shower. So there you go. That's why I'm making a heart. It's just literally a lump of red gum paste that I pinched the one end together, rounded off the top using my, what is that, a fluting tool or something, a veining tool. Press in the center. And there you go. You've got a heart. Look at that. They're not hard to make. You don't need to go out and buy molds or anything. Just trust yourselves, you know. You can do it. I'm going to put a little patch on the heart, and I'm using green just because it stands out nice and bright. I rolled it out really, really thin, pretty much as thin as I could get it. Cut out a little square. It does not have to be perfect because this is just a little patchwork thing we're working on here. Stick it on the heart, and then I'm going to use, I believe it's orange, and then I'm going to roll it really thin. You're going to add 3 little pieces of that orange you rolled out skinny and just press it down against it. It just has to look cute is really what you're going for, okay? All right, these brown circles are going to be the ears. I'm using that ball tool to just press down in the center to kind of cup his ears. And then I'm going to take my knife and cut off a little nip off of the bottom of each ear. So that way I have a flat space to connect it to the bear's head. It'll stick a lot easier that way. Again, a little bit of water, just like that. And press it into place right along the seam that we made, or if you don't have it, just anywhere it looks good on his head. All right, now we're going to do his arms. We have the heart, we have his belly done, we have his ears and his face. Time for his arms. Same thing as the legs. You're just going to roll out your big long tube of brown. Cut it to a nice length that you like. Hold it up to the bear. Make sure it matches up nice. And whatever length you like, that's where you're going to trim it. You saw me use the stitch tool to add some stitching. I cut it on an angle so that it kind of attaches to the body a little better. And then just stick it on there. See how I did that? Same thing with the other arm. Match it up. Make sure it's a good length. Put your stitch marks on if you're doing that. Add your water. Make him hold the little heart. And then he is good to go, and just put him aside to dry. Now don't forget, he still has that long spaghetti stick sticking down through him, and he's being anchored into the styrofoam. Meanwhile, while he's drying, you're going to work on your stump cake. Okay, this is just an 8-inch cake. I want to say it's 3 or 4 8-inch cakes, so that's about 6 or 8 tiers. Or I'm sorry, layers, excuse me. Geez, not tiers. And all I did was rough ice it and put it in the fridge to set it. I'm using fondant right now and rolling it out into weird little lumps and cutting out wedges and just sticking it along the sides and the bottom of the cake. This is going to become the structure for the roots because we're just making the stump. And stumps are not nice and neat. They have the gnarly little roots that go into the ground. So that's kind of the effect I'm going for here. Kind of make chicken feet. It looks like I made a chicken foot there to me. And press it up against the side of your cake. It's good to put it in the fridge before you do this so it firms up, and that way it can handle you pushing and pulling on it without it getting squished out of shape or anything like that. And it makes cakes a whole world a lot easier if they're cooled and firm when you're working with them or decorating them. But again, like I said, just vary it up. Some are long, some are shorter. Some are forked, some are just straight down. Just keep mixing it up, keep going around the cake. Make sure your little edges come out onto the cake board. And eventually you're going to work your way all the way around and fill up the whole bottom of the cake with just at least some kind of a curve coming out. Like I said, mix it up, vary it up, because trees are not all that symmetrical in that kind of an aspect. Again, this is fondant now. I just buy the store-bought stuff. I used to make my own marshmallow fondant, which tastes way better than the store-bought stuff. but for the time and effort, it just wasn't worth it to me anymore. And it doesn't come out as smooth either, so I just went to store-bought. I took the lazy way out. So I made it kind of what color? It was like an amber brown color. I left it kind of striated, you see. I didn't mix the colors all the way through to make it a nice smooth color. I laid it across the top, and I'm just using some kitchen scissors and trimming around the edge. I'm leaving it a little rough and raggedy. We're going to come back to that, so that's okay for now. Now the rest of my fondant, I mixed it into different shades of browns and copper and yellow and beige and just any kind of colors. You could say black I threw in there. Mixed it all together, but I didn't finish it. I left it all striated, as you can see. And then you just start cutting it into long chunks and laying it up against your tray. And using my little pokey fluty tool or veining tool there, I'm using it to get into the edges around the gum paste that I have sticking out to make the roots. And you just start filling it in. If you don't like the look of the different shades, if you want it all to be one solid color, that's fine too. Just keep cutting it into strips and laying it down. I mixed up the colors just to make it a little more interesting looking because it was, after all, just a stump cake. So a little more color doesn't hurt when you're not working with very much. And when you come to the top of the cake, let it overlap the top a little bit too, because we're going to come back to that later. We want it to stick up a little bit higher. And again, if it isn't sticking real well, put a little bit of water on there. Some people I know can use a piping gel to make it stick to the icing. If you want, I just use water. It works, so it's a little bit easier too, and cheaper, yes. If you come up to a fork and you have to split your gum paste, or, fondant, go ahead and do it. And don't worry about those little holes and everything because we're patching it together, so you're just going to go back and fill it in anyway. And it doesn't have to be even, just like that. You can see it's a little shorter on one side, it's a little wrinkled, but that's fine because tree bark is not smooth and flat, at least not the stump I'm making. So a little rough, a little wrinkled only adds to the final look. Make sure you just keep on going, keep on layering, keep on making it lumpy and stripy and everything. All right, so once you put it all together, you get a nice looking cake here. Like I mentioned before, have your fondant come up over the top, and then remember I had said that top piece, let it dangle over the edges a little bit. That's so we can pinch them together and pull them up. And I use kitchen scissors to trim around, as you can see here and there, put little snips in it to give the idea that the tree was cut maybe or fell and it's all rough and splintery at the tops. You can make some pieces pointy if you want, make them longer or shorter, whatever. And I'm using my kitchen knife there that I have to make the circles inside the center of the tree stump. And I'm just spinning it and dragging it in like a record player so that the circles get smaller and smaller as they go to the center. I also put in a few rough cuts too, just for the heck of it. I'm going over all of the bark now in it's brown food coloring that I added a lot of water to basically kind of make a brown wash out of it. And I'm doing the entire cake, all of it, over top of it on the sides in this now watery wash. And you don't have to do that. I did it just to kind of blend the colors together a little bit more. It does make it shiny, so you might not want to do that. But I thought it kind of gave it a cool look. So I did it. You know, it's up to you if you want to do it or not. But that's what I did, just all over it. Gave it a nice thin coat. Don't go too heavy because you can make a mess out of it if you do. But yeah, see, kind of looks nice. And now I have a craft sponge base. It's what I got it from like Walmart in the kids craft section. It's like a sponge on a stick. And I'm using the same stuff that I use for the sides, except I watered it down more and rubbed it all over the top. And those grooves and those cuts that we made, it really soaks down into there. So it makes kind of good marks. It really makes those outlines of those circles. And use a paper towel, wipe off all the extra if it's too dark. And there you go. You got yourself a pretty cool looking tree stump cake, I think, anyway. Stick your bear on top. Boom. All right. Hopefully you like this. Please check out my other videos, and I will catch you all next time.